welcome to the Casual Cinecast, powered by Cinelinx. My name is Chris.
My name's Justin.
And my name is Mike. In today's episode, we'll be going over what's on our minds. Then, we will be going into our top 5 most anticipated fall movies.
Bum-ba-ba-da.
I know.
Yay.
This is very exciting. I enjoy these episodes quite a bit. We get to talk about a whole bunch of movies, so get ready.
Yeah, and if you want to let us know what your most anticipated fall movies are, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Casual Cinecast. You can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/casualcinecast, or you can email us directly at casualcinemedia@gmail.com.
If you like what you hear, make sure you tell a friend. Let them listen too. Spread the enjoyment that is the Casual Cinecast.
Yes, please. And subscribe.
Yeah,
don't
forget
absolutely.
to subscribe.
Most importantly.
Yeah, that way you stay up to date on our episodes, get them right when they're hot and out of the oven.
And right about here is normally about the time we would be going over new iTunes reviews.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
But this week, we don't have any.
No!
So, I know. I've had some people actually let us know that they left us reviews and sent us screenshots of them, but they are still not on the iTunes store. So, thanks anyway, and keep trying.
We'll read them out next week if they've popped up.
The only thing I have to say is get your act together, Apple.
Yes.
What is going on? Are we ready to move into what's on our minds?
Always.
Let's do this.
All right, so who wants to go first with what's on your mind?
I'll go first. I'm really excited about the 2 movies I watched this week. So one of the movies I watched for the first time, and I'm sad to say that it was the first time, was Big Trouble in Little China.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just gasped if you couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I know it's shocking, Mike, but this is the first time I watched it. This movie is directed by John Carpenter, and it's starring Kurt Russell about a trucker who gets caught up in a kidnapping, and it just gets more and more wonderfully strange from there. This is such a fun movie. Kurt Russell is great as Jack Burton. Reminds me a lot of Star Wars and adventure films like that.
Great is an understatement in regards to Jack Burton.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. Really, my only complaint about it is that I didn't watch it when I was younger. I mean, I'd love to be able to rewatch this with that tinge of nostalgia that comes with revisiting movies from your youth.
It is pretty great to do that.
Yeah, I think I remember my parents renting this movie, and I just never got to watch it, and then it just faded away. But I'm so glad that I've corrected that mistake. Yeah, this is a really great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, or if you have, go rewatch it or watch it for the first time. So much fun.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Kurt Russell character.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Hands down,
so.
my favorite.
I really enjoy Stuntman Mike from Death Proof, but this one's probably better than that one if I really think about it.
He's just having so much fun with the role.
I enjoy Captain Ron too, but this is still my favorite. Yeah, Captain Ron's great.
Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China is probably like a better movie overall, probably.
Oh, definitely.
But the character of Captain Ron is A+.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell in Captain Ron is A++.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell as Jack Burton is the best in my opinion. He's so arrogant, so cocky, and he's so sure of himself, even though he shouldn't be at all, right?
Right.
And throughout the movie, he is always the one who looks like a fool, but doesn't realize he's looking like a fool, you know? Like, his Chinese sidekick is the one doing everything, who's the actual cool guy, who's capable, and Jack Burton is just kind of like this arrogant know-it-all. But Kurt Russell's charm is just off the charts in this movie.
I think my favorite moment from the movie is Kurt Russell, and they're about to have a big fight, and he shoots his gun up into the air, and the rock hits him in the head that he shoots.
Oh, yeah. He knocks himself out.
Misses like the first 3 minutes of the big fight.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like every time he accidentally does something cool, and someone looks at him, and he realizes they're looking at him impressed. Mm-hmm. And instead of just rolling with it, he'll always like get even more arrogant and just be like, it's all in the reflexes, as if he meant to do that cool thing.
Right.
My favorite moment is when they're all swimming through like the tunnel and he's the last one and everyone's like on the other side and they're all like, recovering and they're all okay and like not even worried about him, and he pops up out of the water and he's like, calm down everyone, I'm here.
Yeah.
but like no one even cared. That's my favorite part.
It's too much, I think, to hope for a sequel, but I would love to see Kurt Russell and John Carpenter return to this before it's too late.
Yeah.
But
Bigger Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, in Little
Actually, so there are rumors of a remake starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, you know what? I just
Big
remembered
Trouble in Little China. Yeah,
that I read that. And actually, I read that it was going to be there. It's not like a remake. It's going to be like a pseudo sequel.
kind of like Jumanji was a pseudo sequel to Jumanji.
Yeah, that's really disappointing.
Yeah, although I believe in the statement they used some kind of specific language that kind of left the door open to the possibility of Kurt Russell returning as Jack Burton.
Well, here's hoping.
I'm
for
listening.
sure.
Yeah, if that happens, that's all you got to say. I'm there.
Yeah. All right, I got one more real quick. I watched Game Night. I got to catch up with it. I hadn't seen it from earlier this year. It's starring Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams.
And Jesse Plemons.
And Jesse Plemons, yes. It's directed by a couple people, John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. And it's about a really competitive couple that hosts game nights, and things just get crazier from there. Man, this movie is so much fun. It's just a fun ride. Lots of running gags that are happening in the movie, and it's propped up by some really great supporting characters like Jesse Plemons and Kyle Chandler, and basically all the supporting roles are really well done. Plemons steals every scene that he's in. He's so great in this movie.
Jesse Plemons is easily my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for his breakout role for when he becomes famous. He's been good in everything since Friday Night Lights. Just a really great actor. Oh, and the other thing I really enjoyed about this film was that it was shot really well. Most of the time, when you watch comedies, you kind of sacrifice the way a film looks, it feels like. But this film looked really good, and there's some really long takes in there, and I really like how they made the in-between scenes, or the transitions, look like little game pieces, like the houses look like Monopoly houses, kind of, and I just thought it was really well done, really well shot, and comedy that is above the,
Bar?
a really good, above the bar, which I don't know what that means, but yeah, it's above the bar for sure. Have you guys both seen this?
I haven't seen it. It's on my list. I just haven't got around to it yet.
You're really going to like this, Justin. I think this is right up your alley.
Yeah, so. I saw it, and I liked it quite a bit, too. I don't think it's as good as Blockers that came out this year. I think Blockers is like my favorite mainstream comedy, but Bateman and McAdams in this movie are so charming and so good together. And in my opinion, Jesse Plemons is great, and he does steal the movie. But every scene that Jesse Plemons is not in, Rachel McAdams steals the movie.
Mm-hmm. She's really good.
She's so funny, and I hope that in the future she gets more of an opportunity to stretch those comedy muscles a little bit more, because I could always deal with more Rachel McAdams. Always.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really enjoyed her and thought she was funny in Doctor Strange. So I think she has the comedy chops.
You should definitely see Game Night then, because I don't even remember her being funny in Doctor Strange. Not to say that she wasn't, but I just don't remember her character
10 minutes,
at all.
The 10 minutes that she was in there.
Yeah, she's not in it very
much. 8 minutes and 37 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all that's on my mind. Justin, you got to watch that because you're going to love it. I actually also watched Blockers, and I think they're about on the same level for me. I liked them both probably about equally.
Yeah,
Sweet.
They're both pretty good, but I think, in my opinion, Blockers has a little bit more to say.
That may be. I agree with that.
So it has a little bit more heart behind it. But Game Night is still pretty good, and I like Kyle Chandler quite a bit, which we forgot to mention. He's in it, and he's also very likable.
Yep, he's been good since Friday Night Lights. Actually, did you guys ever watch the early edition that Kyle Chandler was in a long time ago? Yeah, I
used to watch it with my grandma all the time.
Yeah.
Right after Touched by an Angel.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
That's what it came on
way
after.
back. Anyways, that's what's on my mind. Who wants to take over from here?
Yeah, I can go next. So this weekend, my girlfriend and I continued our Tom Cruise fest that we were apparently having because that's who she likes. So we watched Vanilla Sky, which is a film I have not seen in forever, probably, 10, 11 years. So it's not quite forever.
Speaking of Kurt Russell.
Feels like forever. Yes. I thought about just interrupting your talk and just segueing into Vanilla Sky because of Kurt Russell, because he is in it. He's charming as ever. He's not as funny as he is in Big Trouble in Little China, but no one is in Vanilla Sky.
Right.
But yeah, so Vanilla Sky is directed by Cameron Crowe. It stars Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz, Penelope Cruz, and Jason Lee, and also Kurt Russell. Almost kind of forgot him. But yes, it's the story of Tom Cruise, who is this like handsome, rich guy who lives in New York. He's kind of got it all, good looks, money, whatever. And he ends up getting into like a car wreck where his face gets disfigured and he's no longer the handsome playboy that he once was. Yeah, I don't really want to say any more than that or go into it in case anyone hasn't seen it. It's very much like sort of a thriller, sort of mind-bendy type movie. I don't think it's quite as mind-bendy as it wants to be or acts like it is, but I don't know that that's a fault of the movie because I still find it pretty interesting and a pretty neat ride. Have either of you guys seen it?
Oh, yeah. I watched that movie a very long time ago on like satellite TV in my room when I was a very young boy.
Well, that makes what I'm about to say make me feel bad, but I saw it in the theaters originally, so yeah.
So old.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have seen it in theaters because it came out in 2001. I would have been probably too young to really appreciate a lot of what's going on in it. I probably would have been into Penelope Cruz. I was watching far too much WWF at that time.
A more important question is, have you guys seen Open Your Eyes, the original film that it's based on?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one, but I've wanted to forever. Actually, I think I own a DVD and I just haven't watched it yet.
It's pretty good too. I think it may be better than Vanilla Sky. I haven't watched
it. Doesn't
either
have
of
all
those
like
in a long time.
the pop music and the rock music.
Oh, right. That
and like
comes
the
with
American
Cameron Crowe.
Pop music and stuff that Cameron Crowe adds in there. But it's like the same thing though.
Yeah,
like
I think
Penelope Cruz even plays the same character.
Right, that's fun.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting is that she came back and did like the same one. I guess that's truly the sign that she was the best person for that role.
What is it that she says?
I don't know what you mean specifically, but I'll see you in another life when we're both cats.
When we're both cats?
Yeah. That's a line that's repeated a couple of times in the movie, and
yeah, it's funny that you knew exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, what does she say in that movie? And you're like, oh, the cat line.
Yeah, it's the line that sticks in your head that I find really funny.
Yeah, because then there's one point where like, you know what, that's a spoiler, but you know what? See the movie. Justin's right. If you haven't seen it or you haven't even heard of it, look no further into it. Just watch it.
Yeah, in fact, we should say no further about it. Just go watch it. It's good. It's interesting. It's fun. I don't know that it's great, but
I think it's definitely an underrated Cameron Crowe movie for sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Take that, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, I think I like it better than Jerry Maguire from what I remember. I don't like it as much as Almost Famous.
Hands down.
I'd have to watch Jerry Maguire again because I don't really remember it that well. That's my only hesitation.
Yeah, it's very 90s.
Well, it has Renee Zellweger in it, so what's more 90s than that? Except that she did a bunch of stuff
Pogs.
in the early 2000s.
Pogs. Jinko jeans.
That's true. Counting Crows. Okay, so I guess enough about Vanilla Sky. The other thing that I watched this weekend was a Criterion Collection film that I bought forever ago. It's a box set that I bought and have not watched any of the movies from, so I decided to bust it out and watch the first part of this trilogy, and that is Koyaanisqatsi. Are you guys familiar with Koyaanisqatsi?
I'm familiar with it, but I just have to give you props for the pronunciation of that, so good job.
Yeah,
thanks.
Nicely done. But no, I am not familiar enough with this to know what it is.
It is pretty much just an art film. It's basically a lot of shots of the earth and mountains and then water and clouds and stuff. And then it kind of segues into a lot of human technology and the human experience and like people walking around a city, big giant corporate buildings. And it's there's no plot, there's no characters, there's no one that you follow around during this time. It's literally just shots of the earth and different things going on in it. Right. I guess I would kind of liken it to something like Men with the Movie Camera, which I know at least one of you has seen.
That one's me.
And not me.
But I watched a little bit of the special features, and the director basically said that there's a lot of different interpretations of it. I think one of the ones that I came across most commonly is that it butts man and technology and what we've done up against these images of like the earth without any like power lines or anything in it, and is kind of like condemning of technology and man and stuff. But the director says stuff like he wanted it to be a lot more like open to interpretation in that. So it's very much an art piece in the sense that I think you can watch it and get a lot of different things out of it. The most notable thing to me was the score, which is by Philip Glass.
Ooh.
Oh.
The score of this movie is really the thing that like carries it. Like there's a lot of great imagery. I wouldn't call it like beautiful imagery, like like a Terrence Malick film. Like it doesn't really seem to be trying to show you the beauty of all of this stuff as much as it is like just documenting it. and doing like interesting framing at times with it. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So is it enjoyable?
It is, surprisingly so. Like it's a totally different experience than, probably anything else we've ever talked about watching on this podcast, right? Because there's no story to get into, and it's something like 80 minutes long-ish, hour and 25 minutes, somewhere in there. So just not being used to watching something like that, it's a little difficult, I think, to like not want to be distracted.
Yeah, it's trying.
Yeah. You have to like consciously watch it. At least I did. But
let me ask you,
about 30 minutes in, I was kind of used to it, and like the last hour ish was a lot easier to watch and get through than like the first 20 to 30 minutes.
Would this be a much better movie theater experience if you got to see it in the movie theater? Like if it was playing in your local movie theater, would you go and see it?
I don't know. Something I've heard that they do with the film, which one of my friends, because I posted on Instagram about watching it, one of my friends commented and messaged me about it, and he said that what they did about a year ago is they were playing the film with a live orchestra playing the score. And that seems very interesting to me because, 50% of this movie is made out of like the score and how good and interesting and moving it is. Like, I think I could just listen to the score on its own as I could like any other film score and be like moved by it.
So the score is kind of the star of the movie? I
think so, whether it's intentional or that's just how it panned out because the score's so good. The other thing, the reason that I can pronounce Koyaanisqatsi so well, because I had no idea how to pronounce it. And the part of the score in the beginning and then in the end of the film, it comes back is like men chanting Koyaanisqatsi.
Ah.
So I heard it about probably 40 times, all said and done.
Help.
So yeah. There's a bit like Hooked on Phonics or Rosetta Stone or something teaching me how to say it.
Reminds me of, what is that Akira Kurosawa movie? And in it has that like special needs kid that like repeats the name of the movie over and over again.
Kagamusha?
No. Dodesca-den.
Yeah, Dodesca-den.
Ooh.
Yeah. Reminds me of that.
Yeah, in terms of pronunciation.
Yeah, just saying the name of the movie over again so you can't forget it.
Yeah, because I remember us like getting ready to watch it, and we're like, whatever this movie is called, we're going to watch it. And then it opens, I think, and throughout the movie, that kid, he's like running around making like a train noise or pretending to be a train. And Dodesca-den is like the noise he makes when he's pretending to be a train. But obviously that pronunciation stuck with me.
Yeah.
Did you watch this with your girlfriend? And if so, what did she think?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't put her through that. So
what did she think of Vanilla Sky? Before we move on from that.
Oh, she did not like it. And I think partially because Tom Cruise has a disfigured face and isn't as handsome as he usually is throughout a good chunk of the movie.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true. That's pure joking speculation.
Like, hopefully her reasons for disliking it run a little deeper than that. But
yeah. I think they do.
Not.
I think she also thought we were getting ready to watch Night and Day, the other Tom Cruise Cameron Diaz movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's actually, that's a Danny
the lesser
Boyle
good
movie.
one.
Oh,
is it
not
really?
the Danny Boyle. No, it's not Danny Boyle. I was thinking of the Cameron Diaz, Ewan McGregor.
That's a James Mangold movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
Night and Day.
Night and Day.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that was the kind of romantic comedy type film. I think she just said that it felt a little long towards the end. Like it was like there was like 20 minutes left to go and she was bored at that point. So I guess it just didn't like grab her.
Maybe next time, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay, so that's all that I have on my mind. That's it, nothing else. So, Mike, what do you got?
So this week, I've watched a couple things, but mainly all I've been thinking about and all that's been consuming my time is Spider-Man for the PS4. And we've never really talked about a video game on this podcast yet, but we do call this section What's on Our Mind for a reason. And that's so I can talk about this.
Sweet. Yeah. Talk about it.
This game is a blast. It's pretty much like the exact same kind of game as some of the Batman games that came out a few years ago, like the Arkham games, but it's Spider-Man. And so they're completely disregarding any movie version of Spider-Man that you know. They're disregarding the cartoons. And what they're doing is basically setting up a world for Peter Parker to live in that's all new, all the same characters that you know, but new versions of them. It's not just someone who looks like Michael Keaton he's fighting against, or it's not someone who looks like, what's that kid's name? Tom Holland. You're basically hanging out in this world with Spider-Man, and when the game starts out, you are like 8 or 9 years into being Spider-Man already. So a lot of the characters, you know where they're going, right? Like, this guy's going to become a villain. This person's going to have this happen to them, and so on and so forth. But the game takes its time. it doesn't make these things boring like you would think. Let me just say that the best part of this game is just going out around the city and just swinging around like Spider-Man and going from building to building and doing all the fun, cool, like web slinging stuff. And it looks so good. So I don't know. Have you guys have PS4? You guys play video games at all?
I have a PS4. I occasionally play games. I don't play too many action-y games, but I guess this kind of sounds a bit in the sort of Grand Theft Auto type, like free world, free roaming, where you can kind of run around and do stuff in the story if you want. Or is that mistaken?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you can't steal cars or hurt innocent people because you are a hero, right? But you can go to any building, like any building that's on the horizon, you can get to it. You can climb on any building. You can do all kinds of cool moves. Like, let's say you're swinging around buildings and there's like an obstacle in your way, like a fire escape or, you know, some piece of a building or a flagpole or something that sticks out. He'll automatically avoid them in really cool ways that look really graceful. So like everything you do, you just feel cool, you know?
You don't just hit it and like kind of like glitch bump around it.
Exactly, yeah. I think the coolest part about this, though, is the motion capture and the acting. So it feels like you're watching a TV show. Like, it feels like you're watching, like, the best Spider-Man adaptation you've ever seen. Like, it's better than any Spider-Man movie that's ever been out. It's better than any cartoon that I've seen.
So it's a really good story.
So far, I mean, I'm only, like, 30% through the story, so it could end up being silly at the end. But all the unanimous praise around it leads me to believe that it's probably going to be good the whole time.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just have an Xbox, so I haven't had it. I haven't had an opportunity to play this, but yeah, I have heard a lot of good things, and it makes me wish I had a PS4.
Is it only on PS4?
It's a PS4 exclusive, yeah.
Wow. Bold.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great. It's really good. If you guys are a fan of video games at all, or if you are a fan of Spider-Man at all, do that. I am not a particularly huge superhero fan of any superhero, right? And I'm not even like the biggest video gamer, but the stars have aligned, and this game is just really, really solid and a lot of fun. So
what made you buy it? If you're not any of those things, just the pre-build-up hype, or what was it?
Well, you know, I'll play video games with my friends online, but mainly any video game that attracts me is going to be very single-player based. Like, I am not big on multiplayer shooters. Like, I'll play them with my friends, but I'm terrible at them.
Right.
And it's mostly me being very frustrated that I'm dying without being able to even see anybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, when the stars align and a single-player game comes out that is just too good to ignore, you know, I'll hop all over that. And this game was kind of a surprise to me. I was looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's really the main game I'm looking forward to because I love Westerns and I love the first Red Dead Redemption. And so this game wasn't even on my radar until it came out, and just the unanimous praise for it. I thought, why not?
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're listening to this podcast and you like video games and you have a PS4, check it out. It's as good as everyone says it is.
Awesome.
Sweet. I better listen to this podcast so I can get that recommendation. It's the only thing I'm missing from that list.
Yeah, that's all I've got. Does anyone else have anything?
No, I'm excited for the next step of our podcast here.
All right, so enough about what's on our minds. Let's now move into our most anticipated movies for fall 2018.
Okay, so before we get going on our most anticipated fall movies, we thought you guys want to check out this promo from Movie Geek and Proud Podcast. They are a super rad movie podcast that we like, and we think you guys will like them too.
Check them out.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Sean.
And we are
Movie Geek and Proud,
a movie podcast where two gay movie geeks review current and older movies of all genres, good and bad. We also pick titles and share our opinions on films that are either not well known or guilty pleasures, but we are proud of our taste and encourage all other movie geeks to do the same.
And it's not just movie reviews on our show. We play games, trivia, movie drafts, we have guests come on, and even the occasional skit.
You can listen to our show on your favorite podcast apps, including SoundCloud, Podbean, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at MGNP Podcasts. And remember, every movie has at least one fan.
You're so cheesy.
What? How's that cheesy?
And every movie does not have at least one fan.
I say it does, and you can't prove it doesn't.
You can't prove it does.
Yes, I can. That's why we're doing this show. It's like every time you want to start with me, I don't understand.
No, you
Yes,
can't.
you
Stop
can.
saying-
I'm
No,
telling
you're
you, they always have to
ridiculous.
do-
You always do this.
Movie Geek and Proud. A new episode every Wednesday.
All right. So each of us, instead of choosing a full 10 movies that we're looking forward to, we decided to just keep it the 5 that we are looking forward to the most for between now to the end of the year. We thought that would be simpler. So without further ado, are we ready to begin?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm making an executive decision, and I'm going to say, Justin, why don't you go
Yes.
first with your fifth most I'm just going to say, hey, Justin, why don't you tell me a story? No. Why don't you...
Well, I thought you might say, Justin, why don't you go last? And it'd be real weird.
Oh, yeah.
And then make another
Yeah.
decision.
No, if you don't mind, old Justin, old pal, do you mind starting off with your 5th most anticipated?
Sure thing. Yeah, no problem. So my number 5 is a sequel film. It is Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. And I think the title of the film might just be Ralph Breaks the Internet, as opposed to Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet.
That's the worst part of the title, though.
I know, but that's what IMDb says. It just says Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah. Am I alone in that, real quick? Aside from what the movie looks like, which I have not seen a trailer for, are we crazy about this title? Because I'm not. I don't like it.
Have you seen you haven't seen the trailer, right?
No.
Yeah, they mention in the trailer, that's kind of like the closing of the trailer. Like the last little like comedy bit before they go is like someone, I can't remember who it is, like, why isn't it Ralph Breaks the Internet? And then she's like,
That
I
would have
don't
been
know.
better.
And then she's like, well, it's like breaking the internet. That's like a thing. And they're like, oh, okay, well, still Ralph Wrecks the Internet would have been better. So they kind of call themselves out for it.
They make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So you're not alone, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. So what is it about this movie that looks so appealing to you?
Well, I'm not going to say that this movie itself looks appealing. Like, I like the trailer just fine. I felt the same way about the first Wreck-It Ralph trailer. I wasn't that interested in it, but I had heard that it was good. And so eventually I watched it and I really enjoyed it, surprisingly. Like, I thought that it was quite good. It was, I watched it again, like with my girlfriend a couple of days later because I enjoyed it that much. I was like, you have to see this, because for some reason I watched it by myself and not with her, but whatever. I think it's really fun. I think John C. Reilly is really likable in general. I think he makes for, I guess it's his voice, because like just having his voice makes like a really likable character out of Ralph. And I just had a good time. There's a ton of like video game references, so it kind of hits that same spot that made me enjoy certain aspects of Ready Player One. It seems like they've upped the references even more for this one and the pop culture references, because like the trailer has all of the Disney princesses in it, which is a property that I don't think they had in the first one. Have either of you guys seen the trailer before we get going?
No.
I don't remember if I've seen it, but I don't think so.
Well, yeah. So there's like Disney princesses in it. They basically go into the internet instead of just like within their little arcade they live in. And yeah, it seems like it could just be bigger, grander version of like the first movie, which I enjoyed the first movie. So I think more of the same. It's been long enough since that one came out where it doesn't feel like so close that more of the same sounds bad, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it's been so long. I know I've seen Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't have any memory of that movie at all. I don't think. I can't remember anything that happens in it. So I probably need to watch that again before Wreck-It Ralph 2 comes out.
Yeah, I just thought it is very likable, a good, happy sort of message to the whole thing about, being sort of a misfit, being an outcast and wanting to be accepted. The girl that's his partner in the first one, she's got a glitch, and that's why she can't like play in any of the games or something, like her character's banned from like playing in the game or something like that. And so it's about like acceptance and all of that. And I think it's very sweet and kind of pleasant, so that all of that makes me really look forward to the second one. And I think you and I were talking about this the other day, Mike, with that animation movies we haven't had that like one that's been really great this year yet, right?
Yeah, not in my opinion. There was Incredibles 2, which was good, but nowhere even close to exceptional, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this one fills that void.
I agree. Disney Animation's kind of been on a kick lately, like the non-Pixar branch of things.
You're right.
They're having a pretty good decade, so maybe they can keep it up.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my number 5. So who's next?
All right, I'll go next. My number 5 is Under the Silver Lake. and it feels like I've been talking about this movie forever. I was excited about it.
Feels like you have been talking about it since we started this podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't much after we started the podcast, so I started talking about it. I was on my top 5 list of the summer, and it got delayed after a poor reception at Cannes. However, that has not deterred me from looking forward to this film. It's directed by David Robert Mitchell, who directed the outstanding It Follows, and it stars Andrew Garfield, Riley Coe, and Topher Grace. The noir premise paired with the visual style of It Follows has me very excited to see what happens here. Even if everything else is a mess, I am still looking forward to this. I'm just going to stick by it. So I'm excited. It comes out, I think, in December, so I'm excited to see it. How do you guys feel about this film?
I'm kind of in wait-and-see mode right now. I heard the same thing you did, which was that it got delayed so they could kind of retinker the editing due to kind of like a lukewarm reception. Yeah. But I've also heard, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't have like any links or sources to back this up, but I feel like I heard on some news article or podcast that I was listening to that it has been shown in a
like
more
the new
recent
version.
Yeah, the new version has been shown and received like overwhelmingly positive reviews. But take that with a grain of salt because, like I said, I don't know. I looked for the source earlier and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful for it, but I'm kind of in the same mode that you are, but I am still anticipating it, so I stuck it on the list. I think, if nothing else, it's going to be pretty to watch. That has me excited just for that much.
Yeah, I'm sold on the director of It Follows because I like that one so much, and plus Andrew Garfield, I've always enjoyed since I very first saw him. Yeah, so I haven't seen a trailer, I haven't seen anything about this film, I don't know what it's about, and I kind of don't want to know. Like, I didn't really know a lot about It Follows when I watched it for the first time, and
yeah, I have no idea what
well.
Under the Silver Lake is about at all.
I saw a trailer for it, but it was so long ago that I've forgotten. I just know that it's kind of a noir-type film.
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah, well, It Follows is enough for me to pretty much watch anything that guy could produce next.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's my number 5. Mike, what is your number 5 film?
All right, so the number 5 film that I wanted to talk about today is the new film by the Coen brothers called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is like an anthology Western with like 5 or 6 different storylines, all centered around a guy named Buster Scruggs. This was supposed to be like a series on Netflix, but recently it seems like they've actually decided to, I guess, re-edit it and give it a theatrical film release in theaters. So it's going from a series to, I guess, a movie. And I'm not really sure if we're still going to get the series after that or if we're going to get a longer version of the movie or what, but that's all fascinating to me, and anything the Coen brothers do, you know, I'm there for it.
Right. I'm curious if it's like, this is so good that if we make it into a movie, it's going to be amazing, or if it was like, this isn't quite working as like a long series, like maybe it's not interesting enough, so let's edit it down into a movie length, and maybe it'll be more interesting and better. I have faith in the Coen brothers that it's not bad.
Yeah, I have faith that it's not bad. It also could be that Netflix just recently kind of changed their attitude towards giving movies theatrical releases too.
Yeah.
So it could be that Netflix was like, hey, if you guys wanted to be considered for award stuff or whatever, you know, make a version of this that's a movie. We could put it out there for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's all speculation. But it's got James Franco, Liam Neeson, David Krumholtz, Zoe Kazan, Tom Waits, you know, there's a lot of people in this movie. Brendan Gleeson. So yeah the cast is you know, I'm there for it. So
what's the last movie that the Coen brothers did? Was it Hail Caesar?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one
before that, I believe it was
seen.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah. Okay. So they're not exactly. I've heard mixed reviews, mostly leaning on negative towards Hail Caesar. So I was kind of feeling like they were on a bad run, but Inside Llewyn Davis is great, so that's not true.
No, I don't think so. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Hail Caesar. It's good. I think anyone you might talk to in person, like a real life person, who's not a movie nerd, probably wouldn't like it, but it was well received.
I think I only talk to movie nerds.
I don't know. It was well received.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
What has been the word of mouth about this movie? Because it's played at Venice Film Festival, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, to be honest, I haven't really heard anything about it one way or the other, which probably doesn't bode well. But even the Coen brothers movies that are commonly regarded as failures amongst normal people, I still enjoy, like Intolerable Cruelty and Lady Killers.
Absolutely love Intolerable Cruelty. It's so good. Anybody who says it's bad, message me. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the camp of like, I've never seen a bad Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, all their movies are very interesting, whether you like them or not.
Right, so I really don't see a way that I won't at least enjoy watching this the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I guess that leads us right around to Justin again.
Yep, it's me again. Yeah, so my number 4 film was one that was actually on my most anticipated of 2018 when we did that way back around the new year. And that is First Man, which is the new film from Damien Chazelle, starring Ryan Gosling. And it's, to my understanding, just a straight up biopic of Neil Armstrong and the trip to the moon and all of the stuff surrounding that and things they did, to get there, to get from wanting to go to the moon to landing on the moon and maybe beyond. I don't know how far after that it goes. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to see Damien Chazelle again. I really liked Whiplash a lot. I really like La La Land. I'm excited to see what he could do without jazz music.
I was about to say, it'd be interesting to see him not do a music movie.
Yeah, I keep making the joke, and it's probably not funny, but I'm going to try again, that Neil Armstrong was probably just like a jazz pianist, and we just don't know. Like, no one really knows that about his life, so that's going to be like a big thing in the movie.
Keep trying.
Yeah. That is a good joke.
Thanks. I thought so.
You're welcome. Have you guys heard about the controversy surrounding this movie?
Yeah.
I have, and it's dumb, so I heard about it and tried to ignore it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so just one of these talking points that you see passed around. This is just something that was picked up by Fox News a couple days ago or last week or something, but essentially they are upset because I believe Ryan Gosling said that like landing on the moon was like a human what's the word I'm looking for?
Achievement,
thank you. Yeah, accomplishment, achievement. And not necessarily just an American one. And there's a bunch of controversy because they're thinking that there's not going to be like the infamous flag planting on the moon. And
is it speculation that it's not there? Because I heard that there is no American flag.
No, that's actually that's speculation that it wasn't there. And then people actually saw it and they were like, oh, that controversy is for nothing because it's in there. So that's what I was actually going to bring up, which was that, hey, if you've heard of that controversy, turns out it's all for nothing.
Yeah, I think controversy should be best held off until after you've seen the film, and then you can judge it.
Yeah, but that outrage, man, you gotta get your viewers outraged because that's what keeps them coming back.
Yeah, get outraged first, get the clicks, and then see what everything is all about.
Yeah, after you've made up your mind.
Makes sense.
But I agree, though. Damien Chazelle, I'm excited for his return and to see him do something not music related. I absolutely loved Whiplash, and I really, really like La La Land quite a bit. So this is certainly on my radar, and the only reason that it's not in my 5 most anticipated is because I knew you'd be talking about it.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm really excited for this film, and can't wait to talk about it on a podcast.
So I don't remember where I was. I was either at the Alamo Drafthouse or it was when I went to see Mission Impossible Fallout in the IMAX, but they showed a clip from the movie. I think
it was the IMAX.
2-minute scene, yeah. And it was intense. So that's kind of the last thing I'll say about it, is, unless you guys have any more, but it just seemed so brutal and just intense. It had me on the edge of my seat as much as anything else that happened in Mission Impossible Fallout.
Wait. Was this in 70mm or was it in IMAX ratio?
I think there are IMAX portions of the film or something like that. Because it touted coming to IMAX, I think.
Good. Well, that gives me a reason to go see another IMAX film.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, that's it for me. Chris, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Overlord, and IMDb's tagline for the story is the story of 2 American soldiers behind enemy lines on D-Day, and that's all it is. It's directed by Julius Avery. He directed Son of a Gun in 2014. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And it's starring Jovan Adepo. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but he is from none other than The Leftovers. So, yeah, he was really good in The Leftovers, and I'm excited to see him have a starring role in this film. The premise of this movie is just so intriguing to me. Soldiers behind enemy lines on D-Day, and then I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer.
Okay, so it's in the trailer, but there's kind of supernatural things going on behind the enemy lines, and so it looks pretty intriguing. And the other thing is, I might very well regret putting this on my list. The J.J. Abrams Cloverfield movies are really hit or miss because Cloverfield was okay, but then what was the John Goodman movie?
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane was amazing.
Cloverfield Lane.
Is that what I said? What did I say?
It sounded like you said Cloverford.
Oh. Cloverford, that's the sequel. Cloverford, it's about the big red dog. Anyways, Clifford. It's
John
like
Goodman
a combination.
and Bon Jovi in it.
Yeah. So the J.J. Abrams movies are just really hit or miss for me, but they always pique my interest. The secrecy that J.J. Abrams, like the mystery box that he has. So I'm really excited and a little bit nervous to see what this movie is going to be. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, based on the trailer, I don't really know. It seems like it could be a comedy, it could be an action movie, it could be a horror movie. Like, I have no idea even what the genre is.
Right.
In the trailer, they're playing like a AC/DC type song. That doesn't bode well for me. Just because I feel like the tone might be a little like silly based on like the music choice in the trailer. But that also could end up being very charming in the actual movie itself. You know,
Yeah,
it could be like completely bonkers, nuts, fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping for from the trailer. Right. You know, something where that it doesn't have to be period necessarily with the music. And I think I've kind of tried to stay away from it, but there may be some time travel stuff involved in here. So I'm not exactly
You've
sure.
already told me more than I want to know.
Yeah, so I'm not even exactly sure what's going on with this film, and it could be a lot of crazy stuff, and it could be really awesome, or we could get the Paradox. What was the Netflix movie?
Cloverfield Paradox.
Cloverfield Paradox movie.
You and titles for those Cloverfield movies are just no good.
No good. I should have looked that up previously, but yeah. So hopefully we get another 10 Cloverford Lane.
Overlord. Is that the name of this movie?
Yes.
Actually, that sounds like Medea now that I said that out loud. So you can cut that unless we want to leave Medea sound bites in here.
I'm not even sure on that.
Am I the only one who knows what Medea sounds like?
I think so.
Oh, no.
This movie reminds me a lot of like the Wolfenstein games, which I also haven't played, but like it looks like it looks like that. It looks like Nazis in World War II and like crazy magic cult-like situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm there for it. I am just skeptical.
I think if this movie is good, it's going to be great, you know, type of thing. A lot of fun. And so I think the spectrum is anywhere from really bad to really good. So it could just be, it's anywhere on the map.
Makes sense.
All right, Mike, what is your number 4?
All right. So my number 4 actually went through a couple changes. Originally in this spot, I had the remake of Suspiria, directed by Luca Guadagnino. But that movie actually got like mixed reviews when it premiered, with a lot of people saying that it was like amazing and a lot of people saying that it was really silly. So I decided to kind of hop over to the other horror remake that is coming out this year that actually has, at this time we're recording this, so far a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that is the remake of Halloween.
Yeah, that one just played at the Toronto International Film Festival, right?
I believe so, yeah, at TIFF. And it was received well. Apparently it is brutal, very good. Apparently it makes Michael Myers scary again, which is nice, because Michael Myers hasn't really been scary since the first Halloween, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I haven't even seen like Halloween 4 and 5. I've only really seen 1 and 2. And I don't even know if I've seen 3, which doesn't even have Michael Myers in it. And I saw Halloween H2O in the 90s. And then that one that also had Jamie Lee Curtis in it with Busta Rhymes.
Resurrection?
Yes, that's the one. So I've seen all the Halloween movies that have come out recently, even the crappy Rob Zombie ones.
Mm-hmm.
Is the first Rob Zombie one crappy?
You know, I liked it at the time, but the second Rob Zombie Halloween came out, and it was so unbelievably terrible that it made me think, oh, the first one was probably just a fluke, or I probably don't like it as much as I remember.
I remember not liking it very much when...
Yeah, I remember you didn't like it. I remember I liked it, but I didn't love it. And then the second one came out, and I hated it. So I assume it doesn't hold up. Let's put it this way. This reboot sequel of Halloween is the most excited I've been about this franchise since I was a little kid. And the positive word of mouth only has me more excited. Jamie Lee Curtis is back again. But the coolest part is they are disregarding every sequel, like every single sequel. So that means Michael Myers is no longer Jamie Lee Curtis's brother and all that nonsense, right? They even kind of addressed this in the trailer when they're like, wasn't that her brother? And they're like, no, that was just something someone made up. So like, even in the trailer, they're basically like being like, hey, ignore all the sequels you watched. Those are rumors now. And so really the first one's the only one that matters.
Yeah. What gives me hope about it is it feels like we've had so many, in the grand scheme of cinema, inconsequential sequels to Halloween. Like really only the first one is still considered like a classic. And we've had so many bad ones that like at some point someone's going to come along and have seen enough bad Halloween movies. Like we should know how to make a bad Halloween movie. And at this point we just have to not do that. Right. And we're going to probably come out with something good.
Yeah.
So
just real quick. One of the things that it gives me a lot of hope, David Gordon Green is a director that I really like. He did George Washington and All the Real Girls.
Pineapple Express too.
Yeah, don't forget
Pineapple Express. I like his earlier, but then he really got into it with the James Franco, that improv stuff that they were doing. Yeah, he's a really great director, and Jamie Lee Curtis being back is really hopeful, and I think that they can make it Jamie Lee Curtis's arc and kind of wrap up her story. I hope.
Oh yeah,
it's not enough for me. She's been in other ones that weren't good.
That's true. She's actually come back several times, but
yeah, no. What I meant is that they can do justice to her arc.
Yeah,
in these two movies.
I have a feeling, this is just wild speculation, that Jamie Lee Curtis's character will not make it through this movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
How are you going to make a Halloween 2 without Michael Myers? So she can't kill Michael Myers. So one of them's got to go, right? So anyway, that's my wild speculation. So I can't wait to see Halloween. I really enjoyed the first one when I was a little kid. It doesn't super hold up, but you know what? I love John Carpenter movies. I've got a soft spot for them. If you couldn't tell based on the Big Trouble in Little China conversation earlier. Yeah, Halloween. Who wants to go next? I guess, actually, it's Justin. Justin, you're next.
Yes, I am. All right, so my number 3 is from a first-time writer-director, but a person you've heard of before, and that is Jonah Hill. He's got a film coming out called Mid-90s, and as a kid who grew up in the mid-90s, this already appeals to me. Because it is about a...
You're an expert.
Yeah. It is
Pogs,
about a...
Jinko jeans.
That's all you knew from the 90s, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I slept through most of the 90s.
So this is about Stevie, a 13-year-old in Los Angeles, set in the mid-90s, who spends his summer navigating between his troubled home life and a group of new friends that he meets at a skate shop. And that's the IMDb synopsis for the record. But yeah, I think this movie looks like it is going to appeal to me in like all the right places. Like they said, the mid-90s thing. I skateboarded in the late 90s, was super into watching like a ton of like skate videos and, you know, the CKY films and early Jackass and stuff like that. And there are parts of this movie that has that like skate video feel to it. And so it appeals to me in a lot of different places. The main kid I saw in Killing of a Sacred Deer, Sonny Suljic, or Suljich might be how you pronounce his name. It also has Lucas Hedges in it, who was in Manchester by the Sea and Lady Bird and several other things lately. And
he's good. That guy
really
is in every movie this fall. I was looking through it. He's in a lot of film.
Yeah, and I thought he was really good in Manchester by the Sea. And yes, and I look forward to seeing him do something else. I'm curious about first-time writer-director Jonah Hill, how that is. You know, the last person that intrigued me, like moving from acting and comedy mainly and stuff into writing directing, was Bo Burnham, who in 8th grade I absolutely loved. So I'm hoping that role kind of continues with Jonah Hill.
That would certainly would continue the string of first time directors this year that did really great films.
Yeah, and I believe a guy like Jonah Hill has stuff to say.
Right.
He seems like a really smart guy.
I agree with that.
I don't know why. I've always gotten that vibe from him, like in interviews and stuff. It always seems like, you know, he's good at comedy and he's known for comedy, but he seems a little deeper than that. And so personally, I think he should be able to do it, knock on wood. So yeah, I'm excited about mid-90s as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I also grew up in the mid-90s, so you might also say that I'm an expert on the mid-90s.
I might say that. Chris, you're too old. Don't even try. No. I know you're about to.
The 90s was my heyday, guys. You guys were a little bit younger.
Slept through it.
Well, That was a joke.
He slept in hay, though. That's what you'd understand.
Yeah.
He was locked in a barn. Yeah, and the other thing, too, is this kind of seems like it's going to be comedy drama and like that real slice of life sort of story, like real life stuff, not like a over-the-top dramatic melodrama or anything like that, which...
Not your mama's mid-90s.
Yeah. Sure. But I'm probably on the record plenty of saying that that slice of life is like really my thing. So very excited. Mid-90s.
Cool.
All right, I believe that makes it my turn. Yeah, so the Sisters Brothers, John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, and Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't think I need to say any more about this film. Those three names should alone make you want to go see this movie.
All right, Mike, what's your number 3?
Yeah, we're done.
But if you need more, let me drop another name that I cannot pronounce, but Jacques Audiard, French
You certainly
gentleman.
dropped the ball.
Yeah,
on
on
that
pronouncing that. Sorry, my apologies. He's the director of this movie. He also directed a movie I remember liking a lot called, and I also need to revisit it, but it's called The Beat That My Heart Skipped. Did you guys watch that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Long time ago.
I've not thought about that movie in forever. That was one of my
Yeah.
first like blockbuster rentals when I started working there.
Absolutely. I remember it being out there. And if you still need more, it's a Western where John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix are assassins chasing after a gold prospector played by Jake Gyllenhaal. And if you're still not interested in this movie, you need to take your pulse because you're probably dead. So, yeah, what do you guys think
There
about
you
this
have
film? Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah, no, I saw the trailer. It looks like it could be a lot of fun, but it also looks like the trailer could be cut to make it look more like a comedy than it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think this is his first American film, but could be the trailer making it look funnier. But I don't necessarily need a really funny movie. It looks very Coen Brothers to me.
Yeah, I would be more excited if I knew it was not a comedy.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I meant to give the impression of. Like,
okay.
The trailer looks good, and it looks like it could be like a lighthearted romp through the West, you know? Mm-hmm. But there's also enough in that trailer to make me think that there also could be a movie with something to say.
And coming from this director, I think that there is something to say. He has a message.
Well, given the cast, I think, Jake Gyllenhaal and Joaquin Phoenix don't necessarily act in... Well, I mean,
fluff.
I guess they do sometimes, but I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is coming off the Joker movie, and Jake Gyllenhaal was in Prince of Persia. But normally, these guys are pretty good at what they choose.
Absolutely. So I think that this is, a movie I'm very excited to go see. How about you, Justin?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was checking my pulse.
Are you did?
Not according
Does
to
that
my
mean you
watch.
don't want to see it?
Yeah, that really puts a damper on this podcast for sure.
No, it does not mean that. I haven't seen the trailer or anything, and I just wanted to make the joke.
It was a good one.
So I assume it looks good. I like Westerns. I like
Me too.
all of the people that you listed. The name doesn't excite me, but it doesn't have to. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun name. The
It's a
Sisters
weird
Brothers.
name. The Sisters Brothers. I don't really like it. It seems kind of like a goofy name, but if that's their name and that's a true story, then, that's fine. Or is it a true story?
I believe so. Or
Well,
it's
either
based
way,
on-
I'm down just to see a Western.
Yep.
It's certainly true that it is a story.
And a Western.
Yes.
So that's my number 3 pick. Mike, what is yours?
All right. So my number 3 is from writer-director Drew Goddard.
Is he the son of Jean-Luc?
No.
Oh.
One too many D's in his name.
Yeah. However, this is the writer-director of a film that came out, I think, in 2011 called Cabin in the Woods.
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
Me
Cabin
too.
in the Woods is great. Really good deconstruction of the horror genre. Good horror comedy. You got Chris Hemsworth pre-Thor. It's just a fantastic, great movie. Fun ride. Drew Goddard has not really done a whole lot since then, directing-wise, until this one, and that is Bad Times at El Royale. And this has Chris Hemsworth again, Dakota Johnson, Jeff Bridges, like everybody. John Hamm. Yeah, this cast is great.
Is Dakota Johnson the girl from Cabin in the Woods?
No, Dakota Johnson's the 50 Shades of Grey girl. Don Johnson's
Also
daughter.
Suspiria.
Yeah.
Wait, she's Don Johnson's daughter?
Surprise!
What? That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Anyway, it's about a bunch of strangers that go to a hotel, and throughout the course of the night or their stay, things go crazy. And I honestly don't have any idea what it's about, but it looks like Chris Hemsworth is crazy and a bunch of other stuff. So the trailer looks absolutely bonkers. I've only seen it once, and then I did my best to avoid it every other time because I feel like it's one of those trailers where the more I watch it, the more I'm going to be able to piece together.
Yeah, I don't want to see the trailer.
Yeah, so this movie looks like a mystery. So in my opinion, the less I remember going into it, the better off I will be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm super stoked to see this movie. It's going to be pretty awesome, I hope.
Yeah, I've seen the posters and like the signs around in the theaters when I go, and I guess it never really excited me that much, but now that I know that it's the same director as Cabin in the Woods, and I love that one, then I'm significantly more excited about this than I was prior to this conversation.
Yeah, if I had just seen the trailer and the poster and the name of the movie and everything and not known that Drew Goddard was behind it, I probably wouldn't be very excited at all, to be honest. But
yeah,
that name is enough to get me there.
Sweet. Is it called Bad Times at El Royale or Bad Times at the El Royale?
I think Bad Times at the El Royale. But let me check. Yes, it's Bad Times at the El Royale.
Cool. I like that better because it's the L. That's just funny.
Yeah, the L that makes sense.
It's actually called. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's called Bad Times at the El Royale with the Brothers Sisters, or the Sisters Brothers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's Bad Times at the El Royale with cheese.
With cheese? Yeah. Okay. Now that I've completely derailed everything.
Big surprise.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's all I've got for Bad Times at the El Royale.
With cheese.
All right. So that means I'm up next with my number 2, almost to number 1, but not yet. So my number 2 is Beautiful Boy, which stars Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell. Both people that I really like. Timothée Chalamet, he's pretty new to me, but Call Me By Your Name last year was one of my favorites. He was also really great in Lady Bird. And so whatever he's doing next, I'm excited for. Steve Carell, of course, I've loved since The Office and Anchorman. And, he's done a few of these dramedy roles and then drama roles. And I just kind of always think he's good. I always like him, always find him interesting. So those two are enough to sell me. But the trailer for this movie I saw for the first time a few weeks ago, I think when I went to see 8th grade. And my goodness, like that trailer this movie just seems like it's going to make me an emotional wreck.
Yeah, I watched the trailer the first day it premiered. I actually watched it on my TV and then I cried. And then I got my girlfriend to watch it with me. And then I cried again.
Right?
It's such an emotional trailer. I don't know. I mean, it looks totally awards baity.
Yeah.
But man, is that trailer effective.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer, Chris?
I haven't, and I don't think I'm going to. But I think you had told us how. I think I heard from both of you guys. It was a tearjerker, and online I think I saw that too. But I'm going to avoid it. I want to go into this one. I'm also excited to see it, but I want to go into this one blind.
Yeah. Well, I won't say much about it then. It is based on a pair of memoirs from a father and a son. So it's a true story.
I know that it's about drug addiction. Okay, I just said it. Sorry.
Well, there you go. Well, I wasn't going to say it for you, so.
Oh, well, I already knew that I hadn't seen the trailer, but I knew it was about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think that's spoiling. It's just a basic premise. But basically.
And just knowing that it's about drug addiction is tear-jerking enough,
Yeah, well, the trailer opens up with a scene between the two of them, and it's just so real, and the performances are so good, it looks like, especially Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Steve Carell, there's a certain line delivery he gives me in the trailer, or he doesn't give me. There's a certain line delivery that he gives in the trailer, and God, just thinking about it just makes me a wreck. So I don't look forward to seeing it because of that reason. But I have a feeling that it's going to really move me. At least I hope so.
Yeah, I love a good cry most times, so.
Yeah, and sometimes in the right movie, that's not even hard to make me do.
No.
Right.
So yeah, that's it for me on Beautiful Boy. Chris, what do we got next?
All right. My number 2 pick is Burning. And if I remember correctly, we talked about this movie a bit back when Cannes was going on. And I've kept my eye on it since then, and I would say I know very little. I haven't seen the trailer. It's directed by Chang Dong Lee, who I'm not familiar with, Poetry and Secret Sunshine, and it stars Stephen Yeun.
Secret Sunshine's really good.
Is it? I'll have to check it out before
Really
I watch
good.
the movie then. I have heard a lot of hype around it. It's Korean's entry, I believe. I don't know how early they announce it, but I read somewhere that it was their entry for the Oscars. So this is definitely an interesting film that I want to check out. And I'm not going to watch the trailer, and I'm going to know as little as possible about it. Probably watch Secret Sunshine, but I'm going to walk into this theater and have a fresh experience. And yeah, I'm really hyped from, I guess, all the other hype. So
Yeah, I don't have much more to add than that. I've just heard of the word of mouth recently. I think it just premiered at some film festival recently, like
Venice
this last
or
week.
TIFF, yeah.
TIFF, I think. And people are raving about it. So that's really all I need to know.
Yeah, this week.
Rave reviews, South Korean. I'm there.
Yeah, this last week is when it got its release date too, so that was part of it.
Sweet. Yeah, I've got nothing to add. I haven't seen a trailer. Don't know much about it. But like Mike, South Korean film, that interests me. You know, when people say it's good.
Yeah, they have a really strong film industry going on right now.
Absolutely. Have you guys ever watched a K-drama? They're like TV shows, and some of them are pretty fun. I watched some with a friend of mine, and yeah, they have a lot of stuff going on over there. Like, she follows the K-drama frequently. She knew all the actors that were in it. Anyways.
So like a soap opera?
Yeah, they can be. They can be funny. Like, one was about the DMZ in South Korea, and they were in the army, and so funny, dramatic, just all over the place. It's just like American TV, I guess, for that matter. They just call them K-dramas.
Okay.
I think we just call them K-dramas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably
just
don't call them K-dramas. Yeah. Right. All right. Yeah, so that was my number 2. Not a lot to say about it because I don't know as much as I should, but I know that I'm excited about it. So, Mike, number 2 for you. We're getting close to the end. I'm excited.
Oh, yes. So my number 2 is from writer-director Steve McQueen, who...
The actor?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Who did Shame, 12 Years a Slave, and Hunger. So this is the British Steve McQueen, who is alive.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And
Hell of a clapper. If you guys have seen that. Have you guys seen that gif of him at the Oscars when 12 Years a Slave was nominated?
No.
Oh. Look up Steve McQueen clapping during that. It's funny.
Okay.
All right, will do.
Sorry, didn't mean to derail. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this movie I'm looking forward to is Widows. So in the cast, we've got Viola Davis, Liam Neeson, John Bernthal, who is in The Walking Dead and plays the Punisher, and he was in Baby Driver. You also have Michelle Rodriguez, which is interesting because she's not usually in things that are good. Elizabeth. Anyways, we have Elizabeth Debicki and Carrie Coon. So basically, this cast just sounds great.
Wait, did you say Carrie Coon?
Yeah, Carrie Coon.
I'm there.
Yeah. So it's basically 4 women who are recently widowed because their husbands were killed, basically have to take up their husband's criminal activities and complete a heist. So that way they can have a future, because whenever they are widowed, they are left with nothing. And that's all I really know about it. But Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Carrie Coon, and Elizabeth Debicki are enough for me to be incredibly intrigued by this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, you had me at Steve McQueen. And then you had me again at Viola Davis.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, there's not a weak link in this. I think, if anything, it's going to be Michelle Rodriguez. But I'm also confident that in the right role, she could be pretty good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I am really excited about this movie as well. I have heard nothing but good things coming out of the festivals. A lot of movies have premiered, this last week at the TIFF and Venice Film Festivals. So I've heard some really good things. That the trailer makes it look more action-oriented than it actually is.
I haven't even seen a trailer.
I saw a trailer when it first came out, and they've come out with a bunch more that I haven't watched. So, because it's like, our stance on trailers kind of is, rather go in blind. So I'd seen it, but I don't necessarily want to watch or know any more about it. But yeah, any movie that has Liam Neeson, all those guys.
Any movie that has Liam Neeson, really?
Well, no. Well, kind of what I was about to say was a spoiler, because it's but it's in the trailer that they all die at the beginning. So I guess
just told you that. I just told everyone that they were the women were widowed.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, but I think it's really awesome when a movie takes a bunch of stars, kills him in the first 10 minutes, and it becomes another movie, which I think is what's going to happen here. But maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it is that Steve McQueen does with this. Like, what draws him to this, what I think, like, the interest was, because it's very clear in all of his other films that he's very passionate about the story or the subject matter at hand. And this one, kind of like heist drama action movie, doesn't really fit with his other films that he's done. And I haven't seen a trailer, so it may vibe in terms of tone a little better, but I'm completely curious about how, like, in what ways does this intersect with his other work?
Oh, nice. This has Colin Farrell and Robert Duvall in it, too.
Yeah, and it has the guy from Get Out.
But, Daniel Kaluuya. But anyway, to answer your question, I would be very surprised if this ends up being like a traditional heist movie.
Same.
Surprised and disappointed.
Yeah, I will be both of those things. I expect this to be Steve McQueen directing a more conventional plot. And that's what I want. I don't want Steve McQueen trying to make a mainstream movie. I want him with his sensibilities, like Lynn Ramsey did with You Were Never Really Here.
Right.
I want something special. Yeah. So that's my number 2. That is Widows. So now we are on our number 1s.
Ooh.
So let's just give a little bit of dramatic pause.
All right. So dramatic pause over. And now on to our number 1s. And my number 1 that I'm most anticipated for, or that I'm most anticipating, is The Favorite, spelled with a U. And that is from director Yorgos Lanthimos. It stars Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz, and Emma Stone is also in the trailer. And then as well as a bunch of other people I don't think I've ever heard of beyond that. But it is this 18th century England movie that's like very like Elizabethan looking and old English looking, which is normally not my thing. I'm not really into any of those, with a few exceptions. Like movies set in the time period, it's just one that like I can't really get into, like Elizabeth or was it The Duchess or Young Victoria, any of those films. What's the show, The Tudors, that sort of stuff.
It makes sense that you wouldn't get into The Tudors, because The Tudors was a shitty show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about a group of math teachers.
Okay, well, I don't think that's true, but maybe it was. But anyways, it just, that whole vibe like doesn't really ever interest me. But what does interest me about this movie is the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And The Lobster, I was a little lukewarm on. I enjoyed it, but not that much. But I absolutely love The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Thought it was pretty underrated last year. Didn't get as much attention as it deserved. But it was such a weird movie with a weird tone, and so is The Lobster. And this film, at least based on the trailer, seems to like be continuing that weird sort of offbeat, really dry, kind of funny, but kind of not because it's so dry sort of film. And it's just, I don't know, it just looks bizarre to me, and I am super excited about it. There's like scenes that look like they were shot with like a 4mm like crazy fisheye lens that just look unlike anything I've seen in cinema, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so I don't really know much about this movie at all other than the poster, but the poster is pretty bonkers for sure. Yeah, I haven't actually seen The Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer. I have them both available to watch to me, and they're both sitting there, and I've almost watched them several times, but I just never have. So I'm ashamed to say that I don't really have any frame of reference for this movie,
I share your shame, Mike, because I have not seen The Lobster or The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Both of them I will watch, or I'll at least watch Killing of a Sacred Deer before we watch The Favorite, just to kind of catch up on it. They both seem like really heavy movies, so sometimes it's easier just to kind of put on a light movie, You're like, you have to kind of gear yourself up for like those really heavy movies.
The Lobster is certainly more lighthearted than Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Okay.
Killing of a Sacred Deer is pretty heavy, pretty intense at times. Whereas The Lobster is just kind of this super dry,
absurdist comedy.
Yeah.
Type?
Yeah. So it's a little easier to watch, I think, but ultimately ended up being not nearly as good to me as Killing of a Sacred Deer. So make your choice.
Yeah, well, I'll have to watch them for sure. Let me ask you, is Colin Farrell in this movie? I haven't seen that because he was in the last two films.
Not that I've seen. He's not listed on IMDb, and he's not in the trailer. I don't know if that would 100% guarantee he won't be in the movie somewhere.
Right.
But it doesn't look like he's going to be in it very prominently.
Yeah, and Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone are both really good. Rachel Weisz especially. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing this movie. I actually saw the trailer, and it does look very interesting.
Yeah, it looks bizarre. Like, kind of... If you haven't seen the trailer, Mike, I think you said you just saw the poster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen the poster. I'm sold on Rachel Weisz alone. I saw her in Disobedience earlier this year, and she's, just as awesome as ever. So
yeah,
with comedy star Rachel McAdams, right?
yeah. There's well, I think saying comedy star and also saying Disobedience in the same sentence might set people up for like a weird expectation. But yes, Rachel McAdams is perfectly capable of being a comedy star.
Yeah, this one definitely seems like one of the weirder, more unique, offbeat, sort of old-timey, like 18th century Elizabethan England. Like, I guess maybe kind of in that Marie Antoinette sort of realm, less quirky and more just bizarre looking than Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, should be fun. There's a lot of movies we have to watch before the end of the year.
I'm realizing this as we're doing this.
Yeah.
So we might as well hear
movies for sure.
Yeah, we might as well hear two more. So
yeah, why not?
Let's go ahead. Chris, what's your number one?
All right, guys. My number one film is The Old Man and the Gun. And it is based on a true story of a guy who escaped from San Quentin at the age of 70. And he proceeded to rob a bunch of banks, and he confounded authorities. And, already this story is amazing. Then you add the likes of Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek and David Lowery, who directed Ghost Story and Ain't Them Body Saints. I think that this movie is a must-see. Robert Redford looks so charming in this. He looks so awesome. I've seen the trailer for it, and he just looks so... I'm on his side already, I want him to rob those banks. And Sissy Spacek is consistently good in everything that she does, and I'm not as familiar with David Lowery as I should be, and I'm going to have to correct that before I watch this movie as well. But... yeah, it's a movie. It also has like this 70s vibe. Have you guys seen the trailer for it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been playing quite a bit. But it kind of has this 70s vibe. Do you guys get that from the trailer? Like an old 70s
definitely.
Robert
I don't
Redford
see how
movie?
you couldn't if you've seen the trailer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it has that look to it. It kind of has that tint.
They're doing everything they can to give you that vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I meant like a 70s film vibe as opposed to the...
Yeah, no, that's the vibe I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
It looks like one of the sort of like the Steve McQueen type movies. I guess maybe not like the slightly more mainstream stuff like Bullet, but like maybe the more like Sam Peckinpah, The Getaway. Like,
okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen The Getaway in forever, but like that's the first movie that comes to mind when I like was watching the trailer, just in terms of like look.
Yeah, it reminds me of like aesthetically, it reminds me a lot of like 70s crime movies like Friends of Eddie Coyle, or even the look of it, it reminds me a lot of like The Getaway is a good one. This like 70s action, I guess. It has that cold kind of gray feel to it.
Yeah. Kind of washed out maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little washed out.
Friends of Eddie Coyle that's a great one that it does like remind me of in terms of look.
Yeah,
So,
I thought so. But it's not a very common movie, so I'm pretty sure like everyone listening to this is probably like, what?
Yeah. Well, check that one
Including
out.
me. Which one is it? The Friends of Eddie Coyle?
Friends of Eddie Coyle with Robert Mitchum.
I'm pretty sure somewhere Edgar Wright cited that, I think, or maybe I was just watching Baby Driver and thought that like there's a lot of Friends of Eddie Coyle influence on that. So, if you're a fan of Baby Driver or think Old Man and the Gun looks good, check out Friends of Eddie Coyle. I think you'll like it.
Yeah,
Cool,
indeed.
yep. Yeah, super excited about this one. I can't wait. I think a lot of these movies come out in the next 2 months or so that's exciting too. Mike, I've never been more excited to hear you talk. What is your number one movie?
Oh, my. All right. So my number one movie is Roma by Alfonso Cuarón. He directed Y Tu Mama Tambien, Children of Men, Harry Potter,
my
and
favorite
the
movies.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
One of the best Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, the best Harry Potter movie. Gravity. So the man is great. He's never made a bad movie that I've seen. So I really don't know what Roma is even about. I've only seen the trailer.
I haven't
And the
even seen
trailer
that.
is so vague that I don't want to watch it again, and I don't want to know more. But the film appears to be in black and white entirely. It seems to be a very quiet drama. I'm not even completely sure what it's about. Have you guys seen anything about this movie at all?
I've seen a still image, and it looks interesting. It's black and white for sure. Yeah, I don't know, and I think it's about no, I'm not going to say that. Alfonso Cuarón, that's what got me sold, so I'm in.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen is there was like a teaser trailer that's just like soap washing across a floor. And that just kind of like reveals and transitions text that says Roma by Alfonso Cuarón coming soon or something like that. Like there was literally no other image other than that one shot. So that is all I have seen.
And that gave away too much.
Yeah. Well, apparently it premiered recently and it had rave reviews. Everyone says it's really, really great. And Alfonso Cuarón seems to be very proud of this movie as well. So everyone is kind of saying it's like his movie that he will be remembered for, which to me is crazy talk because he's already got Y Tu Mama Tambien and Children of Men, right? To suggest that anything could even hold a candle to Children of Men, I'm there for it,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's got me so hyped on the film too.
Yeah, hopefully you can be there in the theater for it. Because this is a Netflix film along with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. What is
Buster Scruggs?
Scruggs. Yeah, so hopefully both of those movies we get to go see in the movie theater. That's the main thing. So Netflix, if you're listening, just release it
wide. Yeah, so hopefully this will open up in a place where we can see it, but I am not holding my breath at all. But either way, I'm sure I'll get to see it on Netflix soon enough if I don't get to see it in theaters, but
man,
that's not the way I want to see it.
Yeah, there's going to be an angry rant on here if I don't get to see Roma in the theaters.
Yeah. But anyways, Alfonso Cuarón, that's my number one. That man's great. If you haven't seen any of his movies at all, look them up. Do yourself a favor. Watch Children of Men. Watch Y Tu Mama Tambien. I think those are the main two of his that I really love.
Yeah, from what I've heard about the movie or from like the look of it and everything else surrounding it, I feel like to get the most close feeling to like what Roma might be, I think Y Tu Mama Tambien is the closer
is the one to go
choice.
with.
Yeah, even though I'm not
agree.
saying it's the better movie at all,
but it is really good.
Yeah.
All right, so that does it for me on my 5 most anticipated movies.
Does it for all of us. Do we want to do a quick recap? Just go through list 5 to 1 real quick each.
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, so I'll go with mine first. So number 5, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Number 4, First Man. Number 3, Mid-90s. Number 2, Beautiful Boy. And number 1, The Favorite. And
all right,
I do just want to caveat to you, like everybody's number 1 probably would have made it on my list had they not been other people's number 1.
Yeah,
this is probably goes for all of us, maybe.
Yeah, my top 15 movies that I want to watch this fall.
For sure.
Yeah, so my top 5 list is number 5, Under the Silver Lake. Number 4, Overlord. Number 3, The Sisters Brothers. Number 2, Burning. Number 1, Old Man and the Gun. And Mike, what are yours?
All right, so number 5, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Number 4, Halloween. Number 3, Bad Times at the El Royale. Number 2, Widows. And number 1, Roma. So
awesome. Yeah. Aquaman didn't make it on any of our lists.
Yeah, sorry, Aquaman. Just missed it.
I don't think it would have made it on the top 50 of my, actually, well,
harsh.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Harsh, but fair.
All right. Harsh, but fair.
All right. We also decided for fun to put the question out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias. And we decided to ask, what are our listeners' most anticipated movies of the year? And so we got several responses. We can't possibly read them all on the show because that would give you an extra 20 minutes, and that doesn't sound very fun.
Mm-mm.
Do you guys want to try and guess what the listeners collectively chose as the number 1 movie they're looking forward to?
I want to say The Predator.
Was it Aquaman? Is it Aquaman?
No, guys. It looks like it's Halloween. Yeah.
Might have been my second one. I might have picked Suspiria over that one, but I guess Halloween's more popular.
That movie is easily everyone's most anticipated movie for the rest of the year. So it's the one people are most familiar with, but I also think it's pretty cool that it's 2018 and we're getting a well-reviewed Halloween movie. Again, so far, well-reviewed.
Thanks, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next two movies were technically a tie, but Mandy and Shoplifters.
Which neither one even made our list.
Yeah. Mandy almost did. I remember someone had it on their list for a minute.
Yeah, it was almost on mine, and then it got bumped at the last minute. I've never even heard of Shoplifters. I know nothing about this.
The director is Hirokazu Korida, and he directed films such as...
Still Walking is that's on Criterion.
Okay. Yeah, so people seem to be really pumped up about his Shoplifters.
Yeah, apparently so. It was the tied for number 2 slot on our listeners' most anticipated. So that's cool. Thanks, listeners. Yep. You've given us something to look out for.
Yeah.
Top
definitely.
18 movies, or top 17 movies.
Yeah. And so I thought that would be interesting just to kind of give everyone a feel to where our listeners are at. So Halloween, Mandy, and Shoplifters.
Yeah. Mandy, of course, I don't think we talked about it, but it's the Nicolas Cage movie that premiered at Sundance. And
where he goes on a revenge spree from like a crazy cult or something. That's all I really know.
Yeah, and then it's bonkers nuts is what I understand.
Yeah. So
I just want another good Nicolas Cage movie so that I can defend him better.
Especially one that's like bananas and weird.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And real quick, we don't have time to give attention to everyone, but we wanted to go ahead and thank everyone who wrote in with their most anticipated movies. So from Facebook, thank you, Jerry Hart, Jonathan James. From Twitter, thank you, Trent at Trent Knockout, and Co-Extra Podcast at core_extra.
Yep. Thank you to Colin at Cinefilm2DVD. That's the number 2, not TO. The Bingeables Podcast at Bingeables Pod. Just So You Know Podcast at JSYK Pod. And Juan Motoa at Juan Motoa. And also Miguel at _Miguel Zarate, longtime listener.
Yeah, one of our first ones. Yeah. All right. The Cinema Guys at the Cinema Guys. Brian Christina at the _Bri, BRI _man. Pull up Seymour Hoffman, very likely my favorite Twitter name ever, at Forever True 2ATL. Thanks so much for writing in, guys. It's always fun to have this conversation that happens online and the back and forth that happens. So thanks a lot for writing in.
Yeah, hopefully it makes the show better and more enjoyable for you. So and if it doesn't, let us know.
Yeah. Let us know how much your content isn't making the show better. That's weird.
Yeah, let us know that you want less of you in the show.
Yeah.
All right. And real quick, before we go, we did want to go ahead and address the next Casually Criterion episode. We put out the poll on Twitter based on the theme Fish Out of Water. And we each chose a film based on the theme Fish Out of Water in the Criterion Collection. And the winner of that poll ended up being The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Hooray. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You won the theme and
I won
the
too.
movie.
I'm on a roll, guys, but I have to admit, I didn't actually vote for mine. I voted for Black Narcissus, so...
Nice. Well...
But yeah, I'm really excited to see The Man Who Fell to Earth,
So did I. But yeah, The Man Who Fell to Earth is great. I'm excited to watch it again. That is definitely a fish out of water story. So everyone listening, if you want to see David Bowie in one of the weirdest movies ever, The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, is it David Bowie or Bon Jovi that's in this one?
You'll just have to see.
It's Rod Stewart.
Okay. Rod Stewart, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so go ahead and watch The Man Who Fell to Earth if you haven't seen it yet. That way, when the episode comes, you can send us some questions and we can have some questions to answer on it. Those are always real fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. Unless you don't like content provided by yourself.
And if we haven't sold you on it enough, if you watch it, you can see David Bowie naked.
And Justin will give you $1.
That's not true.
All right, well, you heard it here first. If you want $1.
Yeah, legally binding, Justin.
Oh, gosh. Okay, thanks.
And with that, do we have anything else, guys?
No,
I'm good. It's a nice, good, solid episode that I enjoyed quite a bit.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks as always to Jake Wagner Russell for doing our intro and outro music. You can hear more of his music at soundcloud.com/bopscotch.
Our next episode will be over The Predator, written and directed by Shane Black.
So yeah, that's another one that almost made the lists, but didn't quite. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff to watch.
Well, the reason I had it on my most anticipated films on cinelinks.com on an article we posted last month.
Yeah.
But between then and now, the movie's really close to coming out. So I didn't really want to put a movie that's going to be out next week on this list. I figured that would be kind of boring.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there have been a lot of new announcements.
Yeah,
of
and plus
dates
just a
since
whole
we
bunch of
made it.
better movies just completely overshadowed The Predator. So, but next week we'll see if we like it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and send in your questions on The Predator after you see it so we can answer them next week on the show. Send those to @CasualCinecast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. Really had a great time today. I hope you did too. I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you later.